Hey, I'm trying to see if there is a new way to channel energy through the collective. And anyway, I'm in my car, but I just wanted to see if, without the tarot and just tapping into energy, if I'm able to pick up on what it is that individuals may be feeling in the collective. So, just give me a minute to see if I can tap in, and then if this is something that you can resonate with, then just leave a comment or like the video, or leave a comment if you don't. But so I'm picking up that there's a lot of energies where individuals are pulling away from a lot of what they have been used to in the last, well, for some people, last 10 years, maybe what they've been doing for a very long time. And, well, I was going to say COVID has really, because this isn't really a COVID video, but COVID doesn't really have anything to do with it, because people are like, yeah, well, because of COVID, they had to kind of, I guess, look to other things because of the lockdowns, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about like collective consciousness. Sorry about that. Collective consciousness. Oh my God, I'm going to die. It's so hot in here. Let's turn my air on. Collective consciousness, that stuff that maybe people were more in tune with, or I guess coasting with, or stuff people would do more kind of blindly. They're now actually putting some thought into their actions, and it could very well be that they've had time, with the whole COVID situation or pandemic, that they could just reflect on what it was that was important to them. But I sense this is something a lot deeper, like even something so much so that maybe even trigger the pandemic, to kind of maybe push the ones that were kind of teetering, because I feel like there were a lot of people teetering. And maybe I'll just share like even my story, without divulging all my personal stuff on the internet. But like for a long period of time, I'm just kind of going through life, doing my thing. I'm a very driven individual. I know how to manifest what it is that I want. I know how to go after what it is that I want. I know how to put effort and energy into what it is that I want. But I just felt like, for a long time, I was happy where I was because I was able to manifest and get the stuff. And when I say get the stuff, it's like the right type of stuff that made me feel accomplished, right? So for whoever's listening, it could mean different things, but it was always important to me to have a family base. It was important to me to raise children that were healthy and that had a good connection or relationship with, and invest in my home. I wasn't really one very much for, I don't really say experience, but I wasn't really looking for experiences. I mean, experience having a child, experience having this, yes, but not like, oh, I need to travel or live life to experience XYZ. Like, I was happy with just no ripples in my river. I just want to kind of do my thing, and not that I want it to be boring by any means, because I'm probably the funnest person to hang out with, but like I didn't crave, like I needed to go to Asia, or that I needed to, I don't know, experience something, or that I wanted to be closer to God, or that, I was just like, okay, kind of almost, maybe this is like a Virgo thing, but like I have my desires or my list of things, and I can mentally say, okay, have I achieved this? Have I achieved that? Now, I've always been very self-aware as well, so it's easy for me to kind of black and white whether I've reached the milestone or pivotal point of what it was that I would consider successful, right? Like, do I have a career that I could say I'm independent, that if, my other half were to get hit by a bus, would I be able to sustain myself independently, right? Because childhood traumas was coming from a background with a parent that, was dependent on another parent, and unable to do that. So yes, check, right? So this is my checklist, right? Do I have, you know, a good relationship with my children? For, you know, for the most part, I mean, teenagers are going to be teenagers, but yes, check, you know, all this stuff, right? But I mean, it wasn't a big long list. Like, it was really just the root stuff that I felt like I've always wanted from like a very young age, because I think I've always, or at least maybe it was instilled in me, but I always kind of knew what it was that I wanted, so I didn't feel like I was living someone else's list, right? Maybe a lot of it had to do with not wanting to be repeating whatever was going on with my parents' life and that sort of thing. But I knew I wanted kids, I knew I wanted to get married, I knew I wanted to be successful, I knew I wanted a really nice home, you know, I wanted all the things in life, I wanted a passion that I can do. But in that blind pursuit, you know, and I kind of share this with people that I chat with, but in that blind pursuit, I kind of became very blind or complacent with maybe even neglecting, not even maybe, neglecting that spiritual side of myself that could get closer to God, or the experience you could get in traveling. Not saying that I'm even at the point of traveling, because I'm scared of planes, trains, and automobiles, but not scared. I always say scared, but I won't correct myself. Doesn't make my energy feel better in a plane, train, or automobile, so no, like, why am I put myself there? And then even somewhere foreign to me doesn't make my energy feel like that's what I need. Like, my energy's not vibing with that, so I just cross it off my list and I carry on, right? So if energy's not vibing, cross off list. So what I'm trying to get at is, I wonder if there are people who have been in this state of, you know, and I mean, we're all at the mercy of, you wake up, you go to work, you come home, blah, blah. I'm not even talking about that so much. That's like, you know, people who are really in that state are just really, some of them aren't even really even aware, or it doesn't bug them. But I'm talking about the people who are doing this by choice, right? Because I mean, you can have a choice to be an entrepreneur, you can have a choice to be, you know, I mean, for the most part, you don't have to work, you don't have to, you know, do things by the book. But I consciously made that decision knowing I could do whatever. And for me, I had, you know, my hand in multiple baskets. I have my business, I have, you know, other streams of income. I also choose to work because I felt satisfaction, as long as it was for an employer that I felt, you know, was fulfilling me in a way that I didn't feel like I was wasting my time or dedicating myself to something I didn't believe in, yada, yada, yada. So, but there was always that feeling after a certain point that, you know, you're kind of in no man's land, or in a place where you can, and some people probably haven't even reached that, right? Like, they're still crossing things off their list. And I'm not saying my life is perfect by any means, but you reach a point in your life, and I don't know if it's maybe, you know, after, when you're like in your 40s, or maybe people who know what they want just get there a lot coucker, because I was like in the state by, like, you know, I don't know, by 16 I already knew that this is it, right? And then by like 30 I was already like, just couldn't relate with anybody in their 30s. I was more relatable with people in their 50s, but now I feel like I can relate with people who are retired, you know, like all of the stuff that's going on in their lives, like I could just connect to, and there's just, not all of them, but, you know, a lot of them do kind of tap into the greater perspective of life. So I wonder if there's a lot of people kind of coming out of that conscious awareness, or they're having conscious awareness and coming out of that, you know, state of being, because I was always feeling a little bit, you know, like something maybe was missing, or that I was aware that I was just kind of waking up and that I was in this, but I was conscious because I was doing it, but I was actively doing it because I didn't feel the drive enough, even though I'm a very driven person, to look behind that or figure out why it was I was feeling that way, or, you know, I just kind of accepted it as, this is what's happening, and what else could I want? Almost like a guilt, because it's like, look around me, I'm so blessed, I'm so grateful, you know, feeling gratitude, overflowing with gratitude, so what could you possibly want more, right? Like, I don't even know if it's a want, but what's going to fulfill you? Like, why are you not fulfilled? Like, you're not fully at your full capacity, right? So up until recently, I mean, now I've been posting videos on YouTube because I'm trying to channel energy, maybe in a way that's helping me heal, but also in a way that might help other people heal. And I just felt like, you know, up until now, the energy that I was filtering could be really directed into maybe an area that unfairly maybe it shouldn't have been going into, maybe possibly, or it was very choppy, right? So there's outlets, but it's like not fully fulfilling. You know, like I have my online shop. I'm not trying to plug my shop, but if you do want to see, it's prairievintage.com, prairievintagejewelry.com. Anyway, but you know, it was still an internal thing where I'm spending a lot of the I'm spending a lot of my energy kind of putting it out in the world, but in a different way. So I didn't really feel like I was really expressing myself to the fullest capacity. So with reading tarot and being able to read, you know, energy kind of more fluently, I just felt like, okay, this is totally connecting, you know, connecting the dots for me to be higher with my higher self, to be able to flow this energy out into the world, even if I'm just talking to one person, you know, or whatever the case may be. Like, it's so fulfilling to me. So I'm just curious, you know, where the collective is at. I'm sure I'm probably not the only one that's feeling this way. Just seems like, you know, since I guess even the pandemic, just a lot of aimless people kind of wandering around. I refuse to believe that the pandemic's done anything good at all, so I won't, you know, I won't give any credit to that. But certainly, you know, it is a pivotal point in my life that's made me, or at least in that time frame, has made me given me a different vibe, I guess. It hasn't really made me a different person, because I'm always, I can't say always, I am me. I just evolve, and I know my truth, and I'm always living my truth. So I've always been living in my truth. Like, that is me, living my truth. And, you know, it just seems like my truth's evolving into this higher state. So I really hope that there's a lot of people getting closer to God. And when I say God, obviously they're, you know, higher spirit, what they believe in to be God and high and true, and their divine self and their fullest self. Because I can only imagine a world where a lot of people are in tune with that. So I'm hoping, you know, people can maybe come out of a phase where they're feeling that same way and get closer to their higher self by doing an outlet or something. Maybe if they're not, you know, creative, maybe there's something else that they can do that will allow them to feel closer to their true calling or their true self. But yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to chat about. I know this isn't, you know, a standard reading, but I hope there is some clarity for some people, and God bless. Thank you so much for watching.